And I need you to know you don't know what love is. Hello guys, it is time for my first arc review. Okay, just to clear the air, this is my third time recording this, y'all. I don't know why. I wasn't feeling the vibe. We are starting again. I decided to take a break, really rate the book first on my own, and then come back here to tell y'all what it is giving. So I mentioned it in my last video, but the book, my first arc review book with Black Romance Book Fairs, is Where We Belong by Charlotte Dinnis. Let me show y'all the cover off my iPad. It is currently on Goodreads. I'm pretty sure everything I review will be on Goodreads, but yeah, it's by Charlotte Dinnis, and it's an alumni love romance. It's a part of a series of like post-college romances, I guess you could say, which is a really cute idea now that I think about it. I don't think I've read a book like that. Like, post-college is really like such a specific era, so I do feel like that's filling in a gap that I haven't really gone into for real. But I've read a lot of romance books, yeah. That's why I feel very qualified to be sitting here today and giving y'all this review of my thoughts on this book. Okay, I think for today, I can't lie, y'all, it's 6 a.m. on the 19th and they need this review by the 20th, so this is kind of last minute. But I think first we're gonna go over what the book's about, and then just go into, okay, we're gonna strictly say what the book's about. Like, if you just want to know what the book's about, we're gonna say what it's about, and then I'll tell y'all my rating, and then we'll go into what happens in the book and why that's my rating. And then after, we will talk about the books I have read so far this year. As some of y'all know, my goal is to read 100 books this year. Last year we failed. I only did 57, but the year before, and the reason why I have this goal, I'm pretty sure I read 97. I couldn't find the stat on my Goodreads, but I know I've said it in a video before. That's why I really feel qualified for this. I shouldn't keep saying it, but I really do. Like, I don't play about Black romance, y'all, and I've already read a lot of Black romance just this year, so we're gonna get into this book. We have our FMC, our female main character. I'm gonna try to say the abbreviations that I know and then say what they mean just in case people don't know. But yeah, FMC, our female main character, Janelle. And then we have our MMC, our male main character, Aaron. I just saw a TikTok that was like me after I finish a book, and it's like she closes the book and it shows Dory from Finding Nemo because you forget the whole book right after you finished it. I did finish the book like an hour or two ago because, you know, gotta make the deadline. But yeah, so we have Janelle and Aaron. Like I said, it's an alumni love romance, so they did go to college together, and of course they were besties in college. We love to see it. Janelle is an accountant at a firm, which I don't really know how that works. Anytime I've read Black romance and they're talking about firms or like making partner, like sometimes you see movies where they're talking about making partner, usually it's law related, but I didn't know the same thing happens in the accounting world. I feel like low-key, I guess I learned something from the book, and I remember reading it and thinking like, how does the author know all this? Like, they were talking about stuff that was like went way over my head, because Aaron is also a architect, and they talked about architecture things too, and I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, so they are besties and they work in the same area. I think they're in Chicago. All the stuff I'm saying is like me, like just trying to remember it. Like, I'm not reading off nothing for real. I did highlight some stuff that I'll probably talk about later, but I think they're from Chicago. Don't quote me on that. And I think they're like 5-ish years post-grad, because they say they've known each other for 10, and I think they met their freshman year of college. So if college is like 6 years, I think they've been out of college like 6 years now. And Janelle's about to make partner, and But the people she works with, the very stuffy people, they keep making comments like, I don't know, like almost like they're still waiting for something from her. And it's obvious that they like expect to see her with a man, which is weird. Like, I don't know, it makes a little bit more sense reading it. Like, you can kind of catch the vibe, but in hindsight, and like obviously throughout the book, the more you look back on it, they're like, you're just like, it's so fucked up that like that's what they're insinuating. But she's talking about it with Aaron. They see each other on the regular. They eat dinner at each other's houses. I don't know if it's like every day after work or on weekends. I think it might be like a weekend thing, but they see each other often. Seems like they're familiar with each other's families and stuff. But when they're at dinner and Aaron is like feeding her, they have a cute dynamic, I can't lie. Like, you can tell he's very like he takes care of her. He takes care of her. I'm trying not to say too much before I get into my feelings on the book, because right now we're still just introducing the story to those of y'all who are considering reading this book. But Aaron basically offers to act as her fake boyfriend at a company retreat in order to help her secure being partner, and that's what the book is about. On to my thoughts on it. First, let's do the rating. I currently have 3 things that I rate books on. I average out of 5, and it is the couple, the supporting cast, and the plot / the writing. The couple is like, is our dynamic good? Is the banter good? I would say my gold standard couple for Black romance books is Honey and Spice, and then Honey and Spice, Malachi and Kiki, I'm pretty sure that's their name. And then supporting cast is like the background characters, which I'm low-key thinking like, I don't want to make my ratings too complicated, but if we were to weight what matters, the supporting cast doesn't really matter, especially in hindsight with this book. They didn't need to be important, but at some points it felt like they were going to be and then they weren't. But I don't require that from a book, but it has just become a thing because I've also read books where the supporting cast ruins it, and I think I talked about that in the last book. I would say what's the opposite of gold? My like bronze standard for supporting cast, as in the worst example of a supporting cast I have ever seen, is probably Wishful Thinking. Like, her cousin in that book ruined the book for me, like genuinely. But my gold standard for like what a good supporting cast looks like, imagine everything I say Honey and Spice. Honey and Spice, not really, honestly. I wouldn't say they're the gold standard. I can't think of a gold standard for supporting cast right now, but you know, like the background characters, you know, when you ever reading a book and you're low-key like, do I like this background character better than I like the main characters? Kind of like that, but like in a good way, not in like a it's taking away from the story type of way, you know what I mean? And then the plot / writing, basically, what are we doing here? Is it even worth being here? And this book, from in the beginning, when I'm hearing what's happening, this fake retreat, I'm eating it up. I'm like, this sounds like A+. But anyways, here is what I gave it, and then we're gonna average it. Let me get out my phone for the average. Okay, y'all, I feel like I don't know if you guys could tell I didn't like the book that much, but okay, so the couple, I gave them a 3 out of 5. And why did I give them a 3 out of 5? Because I really liked them in the beginning. You can feel the care between them, and it feels like reciprocated early on. Like, I don't know, you can tell that like Aaron is almost like the caretaker in a way, for lack of a better word, but they call back to times in college where it was low-key the opposite, and Janelle was kind of the caretaker. So in the beginning, I'm thinking this is great, but towards the end, it did not give that. Like, it started to get like, y'all did a good job convincing me they were cool in the beginning just to show me that they was not cool. They was not cool. Like, it was not the besties for the resties that I thought it was. They end up together though, not to make it sound like they don't, but I'm over here like, should they have? I don't know. So that's a 3. The supporting cast, I gave them a 2. But that is, like I said, I mentioned before, I don't know, there were points where they seemed like they were about to be important and then they weren't. And then in the end, there was a scene with a lot of background characters, and I'm like, who are these people? The only background character I could name and know was Marcus and Emily. Marcus is Aaron's, like, I guess, like, male bestie, and he works with Aaron. And I think he also went to college with them, but I can't say for sure. And then Emily is Aaron's sister. All the other background characters, it's like, I could not keep up. Like, I really could not. So I gave him a 2, but it's not in like a bad way. Right now with my ratings, I'm thinking 1 is like one is highly dissatisfied, 2 dissatisfied, 3 neutral, 4 satisfied, 5 highly satisfied is kind of what we're going with for now. Unless y'all think I should do anything different, let me know. And then, or if you think I should do other categories too. But the plot and writing, I gave that 1.75. I know, you guys, I know. They had the platform. The platform was there. Like, they had it. Like, they had it. But did they hit it out the park? I don't think they did. Obviously, I don't think they did, because I gave it a 1.75. Why would I do that? I don't know. Like, my feelings about the book in the beginning versus the end were so different. Let me tell y'all, by the end, I was actually fucking irritated. Like, the end, the last like 2-3 chapters, it was like, what are we doing here? Once they were cool again, it was like, okay. And then like they tried to keep you there, and it's like, I don't want to be here no more. Like, we get it, you know what I mean? That's what it was giving towards the end. And but the beginning was so the opposite. Like, the beginning, I was like, oh my god, like, this is going to be beautiful. Like, this is the friends to lovers I needed to see. Like, that's what I was thinking. But it just did not stay there. It really didn't. But yeah, I had to give it a 1.75. Oh, I forgot about my average. Let me calculate that. Okay, I have my average as 2.25. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know why my brain is not braining right now. But yeah, that's kind of a low score, isn't it? Unfortunately, we did not hit off arc reading with the home run, unfortunately. And like I said, I really thought we were going to. Like, when I started the book, I was like, thank God I like it. Like, because I even said in my last video, I was worried I wasn't really gonna like my first one, but unfortunately, this one. Anyways, let's really get into it now. Let's really get into it. If you were watching it and you don't want it to be spoiled, you just wanted to know what I thought before you read it, that's what I thought. 2.25 out of 5. I think that, like, I made this cute little receipt graphic scoring books, and there's like tax or discount. In my mind, we're gonna say taxing is me giving it a little bit more because I feel bad, and a discount is me taking some off because I really dislike it. This don't need a discount. Tax. I'm considering giving it some tax. I'm considering bumping up its score. But right now, I don't know, 2.25 seems actually kind of fitting. I actually might not bump up the score, because if I bumped it up, it would be like 2.5, and 2.5 in other people's head would round up to like 3 or kind of like average, and I would put it below average. So I actually do think 2.25 is fair. 2.25 is a fair rating. But real quick, let me show y'all the graphic. I will be using these graphics on my TikTok for reviews, and I will have highlights on my Instagram story with a collection of my reviews as well. It's still a work in progress, so if you guys think I should change anything about it, let me know. Sorry it's not the most clear, it's just off my iPod. But yeah, it's basically a receipt. Right now I'm not really feeling the coupon part of like this includes yada yada yada, like what tropes it includes, but I give it my star ratings and then I total it for what I would rate the book. And I'm gonna try to link the Canva link also, just for viewing, so y'all can see it too, in case y'all have any other input on how that graphic should look. Right now we're calling it Mickell's Pink Page Reviews, and I'm wearing pink for the first one. And y'all, this is like the third fit too, third time recording and the third fit. But anyways, so yeah, okay, let's really get into it. Okay, now this is one thing I was thinking when I was reading the book, is love a review. I do love a review, but one thing I love is like just to talk about a book without having to be too concerned about spoiling it and whatnot. This is for the people who have read the book, basically. Like, this is the part where if you read the book and you feel like, I need to discuss, I'm here to discuss. I'm ready to discuss. So let's get into it. I feel like I need to get like, I have another pair of glasses. Imagine I change my glasses just to get into the part where we really get into the book. Let's go from basically beginning to end and all the gripes I have with this book, and it'll maybe make things clear on why I was rating it the way I was rating it. So like I said at the beginning, I'm loving it. Up to the point where Aaron suggests the going to the retreat. I'm like, period. I'm down, they're down, we're doing this, right? So I'm like all aboard. We know what's happening. I'm imagining what this is gonna be, and in the description of the book it's talking about this retreat too, so you're kind of thinking this retreat is going to be the book. Like, this weekend retreat is probably going to be majority of the book, right? And that's not really what it gave. I think the retreat was like 2/3 of the book, which is fine if I liked the book outside of the retreat, but I didn't really like it. So what happened? So before they even go on the retreat, first of all, there are inconsistencies in this book when it comes to writing. And in one of my past recordings for this, I read the description on Goodreads for the book, and there's actually even a grammatical error in the Goodreads description. Like, there's an unfinished sentence that is like cut off. So I'm like, I don't know if there's a printing issue or what. Like I said, y'all, this is my first ARC review. I was reading it, they gave it to us in ebook form. I'm like, I don't know if the ebook I'm getting is the same ebook they're selling, but there's some issues. Like, there's like small inconsistencies. I don't know if there were obvious writing inconsistencies. Oh, the one thing I did notice is that one of the chapters, it said scene 1, but it never said that anywhere else. So I do think there's even like some grammatical errors in the ebook, at least the one I got. And then some of the inconsistencies was the day that they talk about going to this retreat. It's a Friday, and then Janelle says, let me sleep on it to think about it. But then they don't talk about it again until a weekday. But I think I said that wrong. Basically, they talk about it on Friday, and she says, let me sleep on it, we'll talk about it tomorrow. And then quote unquote tomorrow is a weekday. Y'all see what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but basically, like, the days didn't always add up. Like, stuff was just not always adding up. And I'm over here like, am I being hypercritical because I'm an ARC reader? Like, I was really thinking, like, am I overthinking this? Am I reading the book with a more critical eye because I have to do this review? Like, but eventually the inconsistencies like that just kept coming, and it was just like or they would say things that just kind of felt like inconsistent with how things were portrayed in the beginning. I think that's another reason why I'm annoyed. Like I said, Janelle and Aaron felt good in the beginning, and then by the end it felt like, I don't know, I felt gaslit. Like the rose colored glasses were taken off. But anyways, yeah, so there's little inconsistencies like that that kind of made it a little bit hard to read. Like, you know, when you're reading and you feel like you're in another world, but one line can kind of like wake you up and you're like, what? Wait a second. That's how I felt reading this book sometimes. So I was like, not a fan of this. And then I also wish I have read this author before, because I feel like that would give me a better idea on like if this is I guess like typical for them, for lack of a better word. But I've never read them before, so I'm like, I don't know. But one thing I will give props to is the world building was good. Like, every scene or whatever in the book, I could imagine it perfectly, which I do like. And the vibe of the whole book was really cool. I think the vibe matches the cover. Like, it's like moody in the city, but I don't know why everything feels like it's in the evening. Like, I don't know, like, just think like moody lighting was the whole book, but in like a cozy way, at least in the beginning. So I was really enjoying it. Like, I was ready. I was like, I'm about to eat this up. But anyways, so they go to the retreat, and the retreat is weird. I'm not understanding the retreat. Like I said, I was learning things about, I guess, architecture, like their work, but like it didn't really make sense. I was just like, do I need to work a job like this to understand? Because like, what type of retreat is this? I don't know. It's just weird. Like, it didn't make sense. And then, oh, let me tell y'all a gripe I really have. They get to this retreat, everybody has like their own, I guess, like cabin to stay in. Theirs is far away, so I'm thinking they're setting this up for magic, right? The oh, maybe I should have added spice rating. If you're wondering what the spice rating is, the spice is literally 0. Yeah, it's not a spicy book at all, which I don't require, but I just thought that's where we were going, but it wasn't. So the cabin is farther from everyone else's, which also I was low-key like, is that because she's not partner yet? Is there racial bias? Like, it was hard to figure out what her job's issue was for real. Like, sexist, and I guess maybe all of those things, yes, I don't know. But they have their own cabin somewhere, and it is only one bed, and they literally have a conversation that kind of like solidifies the fact that they're okay with sharing a bed, and then they don't. And that's what I was talking about, the inconsistencies. It was like, y'all just had this whole conversation. He tried to do the whole, oh, I'll sleep on the couch thing. She said, oh no, you don't have to do that. They literally said at one point, we're adults, it's fine, as if they're gonna share the bed. The whole retreat, they did not share the bed. Imagine my irritation, y'all. I'm even still irritated, like, but even then, I will say, even at that point, I didn't realize I wasn't liking the book anymore. Like, I didn't realize I was liking the book until the last couple chapters, after they were cool again. Then I was like, get me out of here, oh brother. But yeah, so they go to the retreat, and basically the retreat is cool, the retreat is cute, the tension is there. I'm still liking it. Everyone is buying it except this one guy, which this is so hard, because I'm trying to figure out, like, I don't even know if my own reviews of books are like warranted. Like, does Mickell know a good book? Do I know what constitutes a good book? I do know that the inconsistencies do make it not good. But the other plot points is like, is that just me personally not liking it, or does that make it a bad book? But on this retreat, there is one coworker who I think she's competing with her partner, who is a white man, and he is suspicious of them dating the whole time, because he's like, this is just too convenient timing wise. And honestly, at one point I thought she was about to uncover a scheme that he was like stealing money from the company. Like, y'all ever read a book and you keep thinking something's gonna happen or more is gonna happen, and the more just never comes? Like, I'm like, man, maybe I'm delusional. Like, now I'm really sitting here like, was the book boring? Like, it must have been if I'm making up stuff happening, you know what I mean? But yeah, he questions the relationship, and that leads to, at the end of the retreat, Aaron kisses her, and that kind of sparks the whole thing. I guess that maybe was the climax of the book, is them kissing, and Aaron kind of does it to prove it to the guy that they're not faking. But also, did he just want to kiss Janelle? Yes, he did just want to kiss Janelle. But yeah, that guy never comes up again after that. I mean, in name he does, but like, they don't even talk like she was competing with him for real. Like, and that's why the supporting cast also got a lower score, because it was just like, so what was that about? You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, okay, you did that for what? But yeah, so then after the retreat there's like some back and forth with them, and that's when stuff started to go downhill for me. It starts to become apparent that like, this is not the reciprocal relationship I thought it was. It was starting to be more like, this man has been here supporting Janelle since college, and she has basically been not reciprocating the whole time. And at first, in the beginning, you don't really see it, because Aaron is like, she has worked so hard for this job. Even at the retreat, he's even like, why the fuck do these people keep acting like me being here is making her such a better candidate for partner? Like, that's disgusting, especially considering how hard of a worker she is. Like, they're undermining all the work she's done. And I'm on his side, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's fucking weird. And I'm thinking he seems like more of the caretaker, because she has all this shit going on with the people she's working with. Like, these people suck. Like, obviously he has to be carrying the relationship right now because she is in hell. Like, but it's like, then after the retreat, it just seems like she is an absentee friend and how much does she really help him? You know what I mean? Like, before I said when they were in college, it gave reciprocal relationship, and there were callbacks to times where she supported him in their studies and whatnot. But back to the present in the book, it seemed like she ain't give a fuck about boy. And she seemed like a user. She gave user, honestly. So, and it started to not become cool. And even Marcus, Aaron's coworker and friend, was basically telling Aaron that too. And Aaron wanted to defend her, but it even got to a point where Aaron basically realized she was giving user. And then when they inevitably make up, she kind of acknowledges that fact and says it's because she was, I guess, scared of letting the mask down that she had been building in order to get to this high point in her career. But it just also felt like the mask was low-key always there, and I don't know. Like, it honestly got to a point where it just felt like she was just a bad friend, let alone a good candidate for a lover. Like, it just gave she wasn't. But then the second she turned up, Aaron was like, actually, I would have always been ready for you, even if he was being a bad friend. That's what it gave. That's what it gave. And I don't want to talk y'all's ears off too much, but yeah, that's what it gave. And that's why I'm over here like, I love romance. I feel like I'm so easily like swayed towards the couple being together, but this book did not. I was over here like, really? It was like the book was spent convincing me they shouldn't be together just for them to get together. So I was like, oh, okay. And then after they get back together and they're all good, there's like an unclear time skip, and it kind of just shows their life after for like a couple chapters, and then the epilogue leads into the second book. The whole time after they was back cool, I was not about it. And it was like she flipped the switch. He would try to tell her like, oh, you don't have to get rid of the mask immediately. Like, it's not gonna be like a day, obviously. But it felt like a day. Like, it really felt like she woke up the next day and stopped being a shitty friend. And she stopped having the mask up. She stopped being the quote-unquote Glacier, which is like the nickname they've given her. Like, it all stopped like that. And I'm like, how does that make sense? How does that make sense? But yeah, I feel like there was probably other points to be made, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this book made me really think, like, what makes a good book? I think that is what we'll be figuring out with these ARC reviews, because this book gave me some questions, because yeah, I wasn't feeling it. I'm like, what else is there to be said? Yeah, I did like the mood of the book. I think it's a very good cozy read, like winter or fall read. Probably closer to a fall read, but like cozy by the fire type of read. That, the mood of the book, like, love the mood. But everything else, it's just like, I don't know. I would love to hear other people's opinion of the book genuinely. So maybe read the book just to discuss me. I guess that is my main question for anybody watching. What makes a good romance book? Because this, in my opinion, was not one, but it's hard to outline why. Like, I was thinking maybe somebody else would read the book and find their reconciliation to be a good one, but to me it felt like I was being gaslit in a way, and I don't know. It was weird. Like, it was just weird. Like, it went from two besties to her being the problem, and like, you know what, I will say that she kind of did give the problem from early on, but you really felt you were seeing her through Aaron's lens, and then the lens kind of cracked when she low-key ghosted him after the retreat. But one thing I was thinking when I was reading the book is, why is it that admitting to loving Aaron is what was required of you to essentially become a more whole person? It was almost like, and that's something they talk about in the book, is maybe almost like her work wasn't entirely wrong for thinking she made more sense with a man. And then with that being tied to the fact that they have been friends since college, like literally for a decade, it gave like, you know when people argue like you can't just be friends with a dude because the dude is fighting after you, like the dude will hit it whenever you just allow it. It's like this man stuck around for 10 years in love. Was he trying to keep it platonic? Because by the end of it he was like, I just don't want to do this platonic thing anymore. But it's like, after 10 years, were you playing her for 10 years? Like, I don't know, like it was, do you guys get what I'm saying? Like they make you feel like, look at the company weird for saying she's more whole with the man, which I did think was very weird, especially how her coworkers kept mentioning it. Like that was very weird. But I also understood the fact that it was more so like she was less icy with the man around, you know what I mean? Like she gave more hospitable with the man around, which I think is kind of a fair critique. But why did you need to admit to loving someone for that to like break away this whole glass that has been keeping you from not only Aaron but also like a whole other emotional vulnerable facet of life, you know what I mean? Like why did it have to be getting with Aaron for you to be like a more well-rounded person, if you get what I'm saying? But anyways, that just reminded me, I did highlight some stuff in the book, so I do want to look at the stuff I highlighted. I'm not really a highlighter, so it's really just like stuff in the beginning that I highlighted, and then towards the end I was like, let me highlight more to discuss. In the dedication, she called the book Romance Grounded in Authenticity and Heart, which I found endearing at the time, but now that I've read the book, I care a lot less. And then here's the part. It says, even the glacier, especially her, Aaron admitted, because I knew what it cost you to maintain that facade, how hard you worked to prove yourself in rooms where you were the only black woman, even often the only woman, period. And I think that's like part of, that's Aaron talking to Janelle, and when she says even the glacier, she's saying like, you love all parts of me including the glacier, and he's saying yes because he saw how much he had to work. And you get that vibe from early on in the book where he's like, everybody's kind of looking at her as this icy person, but he's like, wait a second, like y'all don't understand, y'all don't know Dada, I know Dada. Like she has more to her. So maybe the reason why it had to be him is because he's the only one who really knew she had more to her. So maybe he needed to be the one to unlock it. Is that what the book is trying to tell me? I don't know. But the reason why I highlighted that, because that's at the end of the book, and he's saying that I saw how much you struggle and stuff, and you can tell that he is the person in the book who sees that struggle and defends her when it comes to her being kind of a shitty friend, because he knows what she's going through. But at some point you basically drop her because you realize she's not a good friend and she's been selfish. So it's like, now you're saying I do love all parts of you, when really the glacier part is ultimately what led you to basically drop her. But then when she came back around, you were like, actually I was here with the open door this whole time, which I guess maybe that is what it is. Maybe you were lying to yourself that you were done and you were never going to be done with her because you do love all parts of her. But it was just like very contradictory, if that makes sense. Let's see what else did Mickell highlight. You never asked me to be less ambitious, less focused. You just asked me to make room for more. That is in reference, that's Janelle talking to Aaron and saying like, oh, you never wanted me to not be like the glacier, you just wanted me to have room for more. And that's true, but it was only like an issue until he wanted her to make room for him. Y'all see what I'm saying? Like, I think it's all coming back to me being like, why did it need to be him for you to unlock this part of yourself that not only benefits him but benefits you, it benefits your work, like it benefits everything, not only him, but it needed to be him in order for it to be unlocked. I don't even know if I'm making sense, you guys, but let's see what else I highlighted. But what if it wasn't about being paired off specifically, Janelle mused, thinking out loud. What if what they saw wasn't just us together, but me being more human, more connected? And she's talking about the company she worked for. Like, what if it wasn't just, oh, because I had a man, it was more because I was more human. And that's what I said, like, there was going back and forth between them being wrong for wanting that from her, but then also being right. Is this book supposed to foster discussion like that? Is that what she's trying to do? Let me know. Next highlight. Aaron glanced down to where soapy water from his hands had indeed left marks on the soft fabric. He got soap on her shirt. Sorry, he said, not sounding sorry at all. It'll dry, Janelle said with a shrug that once would have been unthinkable for someone so particular about her appearance. It was like once they got together and the ice of her glacier melted, I guess metaphorically, it was like they would call back to her before as if she was so difficult, like her shrugging something off. We would have never seen that from her before. I don't know, it's just like they just made her seem so unlikable. Like, in the beginning you saw her through Aaron's eyes, and then it was like I said, they took off Aaron's glasses and then you have to see her through your own eyes, and I just realized I don't think I like this girl. And that's what it gave. Let me see, another highlight was Aaron knew there would still be spreadsheets and careful planning in their future. Those were fundamental parts of who Janelle was. Again, like, she's a hard ass, which is like not the problem, but it's just like y'all making it seem like, I don't know, you guys. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? Okay, 2 more highlights, and then we're gonna talk about what I've read this year, because I don't even know how long I've been talking for, and considering my camera cut me off before, maybe I've been talking for a long time. For years, they'd kept their professional lives mostly separate, adjacent, but rarely intersecting. That's the thing, they seem to know a lot about each other in the beginning. They see each other regularly, and they do talk to each other about their work and stuff. And then towards the end, you kind of see their work lives intertwined. So I guess they were trying to say, like, there was a sort of wall in between them when it came to their work lives, and when they got together, that wall lifted. But I don't know, like, they were talking about each other's work a lot. Like, it didn't seem like this was a new development, but they're telling us that it is, so maybe I should just take their word for it. And then but then also how these, oh my god, this is another question I have. How do these two things go together, architecture and accounting? And it sounds like they had the same classes and stuff. I'm like, did y'all just both do business majors? But for architecture, you have to go to architecture, not architecture school, but like you have to do an architecture program. But I guess they actually, no, there were some times where sorry, I have this is if you're wondering what I keep waving around, it's a toothpick thing, but I'm just holding it. But so they're not in the same program, but they have classes that overlap. Does that make sense for architecture and accounting? And then the way they can discuss each other's work with each other, it's like they really understand each other's work in a way that's like, there must be more overlap than I know about, or is this because it's made up? Like, am I being too hypercritical here? If I'm being too hypercritical, somebody tell me. Genuinely. And then last one. I love you too, she replied, and even now the ease with which she said it amazed him. That just sounded bad to me. Like, the ease with which she said it amazed him, amazed Aaron. Like, you're amazed that your girlfriend is telling you that she loves you easily. Like, damn, like, was she that much of a hard ass? Like, maybe I need to like reread the beginning of this book, because I don't know, she gave hard ass. Which is another thing, when I was reading the book I was looking like, does this girl have something? Not in a bad way, because I got things, but it genuinely gave like, oh, maybe she has OCD or something. But I don't know. And then they just moved, like, it was so shocking that she could grow as a person. It gave belittling. Like, I feel like we went through this whole book to belittle Janelle at the end, and I feel like I'm being a really hard critic right now. So I think I'm gonna leave it at that, unless I remember some things from there. But yeah, I was thinking that Spice would have helped. Spice would have made me a whole lot less annoyed. I feel like it personally. But yeah, I want to know what other people thought. So yeah, 2.25. Yeah. And then I understand why ratings are important, because if you don't read a lot, it's like you don't have time to read duds. So if you don't want to read a dud, I would say maybe don't read this book. But if you like just reading romance, then read this book. If you like books that make you think like this, then read this book, because I do think that the things I'm considering are like good things to consider. Like, it is making me question things, and it's making me look back on other romance books I've read and thought like, is this a little bit too patriarchal for me? Is this like, you know, when on TikTok sometimes you'll see something and it's like not as making me side with the man. That's what the book made me feel like. So, because really, like, you were friends for 10 years, like, I don't know, friends to lovers trope is not really my type of thing. Like, my favorite thing is like marriage of convenience, or like I said, one bedroom type of thing. I'm not somebody who would specifically say like I am a friends to lovers fiend, right? As someone but I'm also not a friends to lovers hater. And I'm thinking that friends to lovers haters must be thinking what I'm thinking, where it's like, were you really friends if your guys' whole relationship rides on the fact that the guy is actually secretly in love with you the whole time? And that's one of the questions I want to leave y'all with today. But anyways, okay, we're moving on, and we're gonna talk about the books I've read so far this year. I have been on track this year. I was worried because January was coming to an end, and low-key I was not hitting the goals, right? But then I ran into a Jaquel J series, and that covered me for the whole month of January, if not more, for real. I have read 13 books so far. It says I'm on track on Goodreads, but let me see. I need to read around like 8 1/3 book every month to get to 100. So I would say 9 books. So I need to read like 5 more before the month ends. That seems like a lot, right? I mean, 100 books in a year is a lot, so probably. But anyways, let's talk about what books I have read so far this year. If I'm looking down, I'm either looking at my phone or my iPad. I don't want to like rate books too much or go into too much details of books. Just like, if I have something to say about the books, I'm gonna let y'all know. The first book I read this year was Plus Size Player by Danielle Allen, and I had read the first book in her series. It's like three girls in a friend group. Each book is about each of the girls. I read the first book, but I read it a long time ago, and the only thing I remember from the first book is that it was like she was dating people at a bar, but she ends up falling for the bartender. But that's the only thing I really remember from that. I know it takes her a while to like admit that it's the bartender, but whatever. Plus Size Player was cute though. There's a scene in a helicopter those books is spicy. Those books is spicy. That helicopter book, that helicopter scene. Okay, The Art of Scandal, I found that boring. I think that's a popular one too, but I found that one boring and weird, and there's an age gap. I do not like age gap stuff. Fun fact, I did not read Only for the Weak for a long time, and then I only read it because my book club read it, and I had been avoiding it because I thought it was an age gap book, and it really wasn't. So I don't know what I mixed it up with. Maybe I mixed it up with The Art of Scandal, but yeah, not a fan of The Art of Scandal. August Lane was interesting, but I'm not into that country stuff. Like, I'm I'm sorry, I'm not. And then the Jacole J series I read was Capone. I read the Capone series, and then I was going to read, I think, Capadonna, because Capadonna comes before Capri, and Capadonna is not on my Libby, so I have to wait until it just shows up, I guess. But it's like usually on Libby, if you look up a book and maybe sometimes you like deep search it, it'll come up, but it'll tell you they don't have it, but you can like tag it for later, and then usually eventually it comes up. I don't know how it works, but it does. But Capadonna did not even show up in the searches, so I'm like, oh my god, I might never finish that series, because if it's not on Libby, I don't know where it's gonna be. And then I read the To All the Thugs I've Loved That Didn't Love Me Back. I did not like that series, but I finished it. That one was 3 books. Capone was 3 books too. Capone was good. Capone is like a movie. Urban romances, oh, To All the Thugs I've Loved That Didn't Love Me Back, that's actually 4 books. But Capone is an urban romance, by the way. Sorry, I be talking about books like everybody knows what I'm talking about, but just check my Goodreads for reference. But everything linked below. But the Capone series, it feels like a movie, and that's what I like about urban romances. They are very crazy. And is it bad to say I'm not urban myself? Do people even like the urban romance label? Because I feel like labeling urban, or like black people urban, is like questionable. But for the sake of the label urban romance, I would not consider myself urban, or at least the urban that is portrayed in these books. So it's very like a lot, and like it feels like a movie. That's what I do love about the urban romances, and I feel like urban romances might be what helped me hit 100 books this year, honestly, because I be entertained thoroughly. And then I read Shabby Sheldon Feels Good as Hell. Honestly, nothing special. I mostly read it to watch the movie, and the movie was ass. The movie was ass. And then Devon and Chris Plan a Wedding. I think that's my favorite book so far this year that I've read. Devon and Chris Plan a Wedding was very, very cute. Like, I just like the idea. It's like you go on a reality TV show to convince your family you're marrying somebody, like, out of the blue, and then if you successfully convince your family, you either like get married and pay off the wedding, or you take the money for yourself. It's kind of like Love Island, where at the end you either choose the money for yourself or together. And it's like 2 people going on that show, and it's WLW, Woman Love Woman. It's 2 women, and one of them hasn't come out to her fam yet, so she's using the show to come out to her fam, and then the other one is like going onto the show convinced that she's finding her soulmate, which is interesting because people don't really go onto the show thinking that. But I liked it a lot, so I would recommend that. Devon and Chris Plan a Wedding, I like that. And then I listened to Outdrawn, which is also WLW, and I like the premise of it being like webtoon or webcomic. I'll say webcomic because that's a more general term, but personally I use webtoon. I don't know how much longer though, but it's 2 girls who are webcomic writers, and I feel like that's such an interesting world. I love when black romance delves into worlds that like you don't really think about. So I do like that about Where You Belong, where it's like the corporate world, because I was reading it thinking like I think I've only read the corporate world in like super spicy books, like books that are literally like spice is the whole point of the book. I don't know if I've read them in more like typical contemporary black romance books. So I do like different worlds, so that was nice. But yeah, those are the 13 books I have read so far, and it's only up from here. But yeah, I hope you guys liked my review. I don't know if y'all can tell, the energy is kind of low, but maybe because it's so freaking like I've been a night owl recently. Like I've been nocturnal. I've been awake since maybe 9 p.m. and now it's like 7 in the a.m. I got schoolwork to do. Y'all know I'm in grad school. I got this reviews to get done. My graphic isn't completely done, and I don't even know if it's gonna end up done. I still have to make a TikTok reviewing the book, which is harder for me to do because I yap so much. It's like I don't know how I'm gonna do that in a short amount of time. But yeah, this was fun. My energy is also low because I had to record this 3 times, but I'm glad I got through it because I was thinking I wasn't gonna get through it, and I was like, girl, this is the last day, like you literally don't have time. But this is fun and I'm excited to keep doing this. I do have another book to review next, and I think that one is also gonna be due in about a week as well, or maybe closer to 10 days. But yeah, so you guys will be seeing me again soon, and then after that I don't know, so we'll just go from there. Maybe then if there's a gap with ARC books, I might do like the new booktube tag and talk more about ARC reading in general and other types of reading like beta reading and things of that nature, because I've been learning about that too. We are learning together. But yeah, I do want to thank Black Romance Book Fairs again for the opportunity to ARC review. They introduced me to ARC reviewing. I'm not going to the book fair this year because I'm broke, but hopefully in the future. But yeah, I like, if you're wondering ways to like go into your hobby more, I'm hoping I'm introducing more ways. Like if you love reading, how to do more of it and get involved in it more, turning your hobbies into like life passions, you know, like fun things to do. Like there's these book fairs, there's ARC reviewing. You can get into ARC reviewing like me, and I'm just starting out. This is just the beginning of me and my journey into the things that I like to do. So yeah, like I said, thanks to Black Romance Book Fairs, I'm excited for this opportunity. But yeah, I feel like I didn't finish my statement, but y'all get the vibes. And hopefully y'all have more energy next time. I don't know why my energy is so low. Like I said, I mean, it's late. I'm doing this last minute and I had to record it 3 times, but I don't know. Maybe because the book was bad, honestly. Like, but yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. And I do want to like discuss the book. That's what's hard about reading books, because it's like if I don't like the book, who might tell y'all to read it? But maybe read it just so we can talk about it. Deal? Anyways, yeah, we gotta get this up. And
I need you to know, you don't know what love is.